I was recently in a shopping mall with my dad, eating dinner in the food court. We only started, and not far from our table I saw this homeless woman hesitating whether to approach us. It is not usual for something like this to happen. I looked at her, and I think that was the cue she needed to get the courage to come over. She looked troubled, and I didn't really want to make her feel any worse, so I just reached into my pocket to get some money. I wasn't even waiting for her to start talking, and I just gave the money to her. She said thank you and quickly walked away. She was in bad shape, and I could tell she felt embarrassed. Now, the reason I am talking about this is my dad's reaction. As soon as she left, he made a comment about how disgusting it is and how they all should get a job and stop being lazy. My dad is 20 years older than me, and I was surprised to hear something like this from him. Well, not really surprised, but more like disappointed. He has a much lower empathy level, which I got used to, and it is me who's abnormal in this society. His reaction is what you would expect from most people. I said to him, "You don't know her circumstances and what led to her being where she is now." My idea of homelessness might be a bit naive because I believe that life is a net force of luck and your own decisions, but I know how little it takes for things to go south. Not everything is in your control and life can turn on you for no reason at any point. So he says, "I do not know her circumstances, but I do know that I would never end up in a situation like that because I work hard and I make smart decisions." To which I said, "Give me a list of reasons that make you different than her." And his list was, "I've been always saving money, I've been continuously employed for almost 40 years, and I manage my money in a way that it generates more income." At this stage, I started getting really annoyed by his lack of ability to imagine himself in somebody else's situation, and I said, "First of all, before you had me, you had an accident in the army, and they have been paying you support money for the last 4 decades. So that's something that immediately puts you in a completely different situation. The fact that you're saving money is a result of you being dirt poor as a child and being scared of debt. Your ability to self-control and delay gratification, living a minimalist lifestyle, is a result of a personality trait you came with into this world. And some of the decisions you made looking from a perspective were crapshoots, and you were lucky. Some were good, and some were so bad that I pay for them to this day with my damaged personality." My point was that his current life was a result of life circumstances he was not responsible for. It was a concept that was so difficult for him to grasp, and I could tell from his attitude that he didn't feel good with me judging him like that, which I guess I do more often than I should. My dad is an instrumentation technician and he's worked in the same chemical plant for as long as I live. Even that is a bit of a miracle, as he picked this particular plant because he knew someone there, and out of all the chemical and process plants in our region, this one is the only one that was not closed down after the political and economical storm that swept through Europe in the early 90s. I knew he felt this was an attack rather than a logical breakdown of his current life situation. We get in these a lot. I said, she could have lost her family, she could have been subject to abuse, she could have made a few bad decisions, or she might have just been simply unlucky. There's a broad spectrum of possibilities between lazy and mentally ill. He did not say much after that, and I added that I'm not belittling or criticizing his achievements, but as they say, you should only look down on people when you're trying to help them up. I know that many people look at life and others this way. They take things for granted and come up with life theories based on the luck they had in life. Luck that allowed them to have mental tools to deal with life, or luck that created for them circumstances allowing for them to thrive. Not everybody is that lucky. I understand that some people simply pay for the consequences of their bad decisions, but they usually do what they feel is right in a given situation, and they use mental tools they came here with. I know that there's much more to this issue, and I do realize that this is a second video about homeless here, but it is something I can't understand. The mindset where you feel you're not needed or worth anything when you're out on the street. I cannot imagine the fear, shame, and hopelessness associated with it. And for someone to be completely oblivious to this enormous suffering of another fellow human being, that's something I've been struggling with all of my life. I believe in the power of compassion, and I'm glad there are people who have the emotional capacity to understand life's variety of circumstances. I just hope that if we all stop being judgmental and for a moment try to imagine ourselves in somebody's situation, we could all become better people, making this world easier for everybody. Do you know how you would behave in their position if you were faced with the same challenges they had? Aren't we all the same person with the same fears and desires, shaped differently by a variety of circumstances beyond our control? I think it's worth thinking about this next time you witness someone tell a homeless person to get a job.